Like I said, we know where these guys are. We know where they live. We know their parents.
You know them as a government?
Of course we do. They live with the same community we live.
So why is it difficult to get them?
That is the $1 million question that I should ask you.
We are trying to understand, for those of us who are now conversant with Zamfara, have never been there, and we hear you as a chief security officer speak tonight to say you know these people, but yet you can't get them. It's a head scratcher.
Is that some of the bandits are also engaged in some mining activities.
Hello. Who are these people they are talking about? They are talking about the terrorists in Nigeria. For information, that is the Zamfara State Governor telling you he know, they know, as a government, they know them. And yet, every day they will come out to tell you they are looking for them. I would like you to watch this video to the end and then come back and tell me what you think in the comment section. Who is fooling who? If you can, and by the way, this is in Arise Television, happened live in Arise Television. We have not seen Rufai jump up and vibrate about this. We have not seen anybody, Deji, BKO of TVC and the rest of them. And we have not seen Abaribe come out to vibrate about this. This is what we have been saying. This is what we have been condemning. And this is why you must fight for your own freedom. I want you to listen to the end. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Have we not been vindicated?
The story that was out there with the change of the commandant was that he raised some concerns and accusations that the outfit is not being equipped and is not being funded to fight the war you have set it up for. And then he was changed a couple of weeks after.
That is not true. If you had listened to the police when he was arrested and interrogated, it was a different story. What we found out was that he was fully involved in that operation in Mada. The records are there. You can get this information from the Commissioner of Police in Zamfara State. So it's not true.
Great. Mr. Governor, I'd like to take you back to my first question when I asked you about what your state was actually dealing with. Because we hear banditry in Zamfara in the northwest of Nigeria. But by our understanding, and the simplest definition of banditry, involves groups of armed thieves. So these are thieves with just arms. Yet the challenge seems, grave, that the northwest, and particularly Zamfara State, is not able to deal with group of thieves who have arms. So do you feel the narrative is correct to say what you're dealing with in your state is banditry, or is it something more grave than that?
Well, it all depends on classification. You can call them bandits, you can call them thieves, you can call them any name. But my understanding is what will be the reason for these banditry activities. That's number one. Two, if you talk about Niger Delta, I will say yes, there's an economic reason why people are fighting to get certain things. If you look at Boko Haram, you will say that it's a religious issue because they believe in their faith, and therefore they want to defend their faith. What is the reason in Zamfara? We are the same people, 99.9% same religion. So what is the reason? What are they fighting for? This is the question.
Have you been able to find an answer to that question?
That is still what we're trying to do, because I cannot understand why. And imagine if today they're going after government officials. They say, okay, they have grievances with government officials, but they kill innocent people that barely even eat 1 square meal in a day. What could have been the reason? That must be crazy. And that is still what we're trying to find out. And to deal with that is you need to deal with these people decisively.
And in taking that decisive measures, let's talk about the role of the federal government in all of this, because so far it's been your effort we've talked about. How much of an influence does the federal government have in, or has in, fighting this war with you in Zamfara State? What's been the involvement of the federal government?
Security situation is not just for Zamfara. It's across all the northern part. However, Zamfara play a dominant role in terms of the banditry because this is where they hibernate. They move from Zamfara to Katsina, Niger, Kaduna, Sokoto, and so on and so forth. And you know, it's the responsibility of federal government to provide safety of people, lives and property, which is the security forces that include the military, the police, as well as civil defense. Yeah, they're doing their best. However, there's a need to do more to deal with these guys decisively. Like I said, we know where these guys are. We know where they live. We know their parents.
You know them as a government.
Of course we do. They live with the same community we live.
So why is it difficult to get them?
That is the $1 million question that I should ask you.
We are trying to understand, for those of us who are now conversant with Zamfara, have never been there, and we hear you as a chief security officer speak tonight to say you know these people, but yet you can't get them. It's a head scratcher.
It is something that we are trying to all put our heads together. That is why, from what I can do as a governor, to have this CPG as a first line of defense. Of course, military are there, police are there, as well as civil defense, but they are not under my control. They are under the control of federal government, and they are doing their best. And like I said also, our security forces have the ability to crush these guys.
But they are not.
They're trying their best.
Trying their best.
Like what happened within the last 3 days when one of the major kingpin, Halilu Sububu, was killed. It is a combination of both military as well as the CPG and the community that made it possible. And I commend them for that.
Okay, I wanted to take you back to one of the questions you raised tonight about what is fueling this in Zamfara, because you seem to say, it doesn't look like there's a religion undertone to it. The people they kill are also poor, so they're
very poor,
very
for that
poor,
matter.
so there is no
barely
reason
surviving.
To go after them. But there's a question of the mining, the natural resources in Zamfara State. Don't you think that is enough to fuel all of this in Zamfara State? And I wanted you to answer if the ban placed by the federal government is still in place on mining in your state.
The ban has been in place since 2018, so it's nothing new. I also met it. What I did on my own part is to also make sure the traditional institution do not give this consent form or consent letter for any mining activity in Zamfara State. And it's one reason why we had to issue an executive order that will stop giving out consent letters on mining by traditional rulers. Now, yes, there is a kind of correlation between insecurity and mining. And that's the reason why we're making conscious effort to have a clear understanding between the state and the federal government on what will be the best way to go about it. Of course, it's about revenue as far as I'm concerned. If we're able to get it together and make it functional, that means there's an additional revenue that will be coming to state government, which will be used in making some significant projects that will be for the benefit of our people. And I'm happy there's that synergy now between the state and the federal government in terms of mining activities on what will be the way forward. We're trying to fine-tune the whole thing.
Okay, so if I understand you, this ban on mining that has been in place hasn't really shifted the needle in terms of the nexus between mining or illegal mining and security in the state?
What I'm hearing is that some of the bandits are also engaged in some mining activities. For example, the guy that was killed 3 days ago, the Halilu Subu. But the rest are just artisanal miners, so to say. So it is something, like I say, we're trying to fine tune to understand what is really happening and what would be the best way to make it effective and functional, so that in the long run, there will be revenue coming to both federal and the state government.